Hey, what's up everybody? Lawler here. Going to be talking about the Intel World Open in today's video. I've been getting a lot of questions about how the format works, what the heck's going on, how am I supposed to follow along, and I know it's been very difficult, so a couple things that we'll be discussing. Number one, what the format is, what to pay attention to, how to follow along. There's some really easy resources to do so. There's also two resources that I'm going to provide you guys on how to stay up to date with the matches and the results. And then the third thing is some news about some of the casters that are going to be doing it. So all of that Intel World Open related and more on the open qualifiers in today's video. What's up everybody? Lawler here, your inside source for all things Rocket League. As I mentioned in the intro, we're going to be talking about all about the Intel World Open, or IWO Rocket League, for those that do not know. What the IWO is, the Intel World Open. It is a $250,000 event that was supposed to be an Olympic event. It was supposed to be a $250K tournament where a bunch of people played for their country and then would go and represent and play. And unfortunately, it's a regional event again due to the pandemic. So because of that, everything's been separated and kind of drawn out a little bit differently. In today's video, I'm going to talk primarily like two or three things. First one is how the hell it works, what the hell is happening with all these open qualifiers and what it actually leads to. Got a bunch of visuals and stuff that'll make it really easy, and resources. All of those will always be in the description if you need help with that. The second thing is we're going to be talking about the results and easy ways to stay up to date on the results, because there is legitimately like 17 plus, like there's an absolute ton of qualifiers going on. It's really tough to stay up to date. I've compiled all the results in literally one area that I update on a regular basis. So makes it really easy, and it's a document you guys have probably already used. So those are the major two things. And then there's also some leaks about one of the casters that's going to be doing something, so that's pretty cool as well. So with that said, let's jump into the website stuff. So as you can see, we're on Liquipedia because Liquipedia is where everything lives. And if you make your window big enough, on the right hand side you can see a bunch of things with IWO dash information about what qualifier is happening. So right now we are just about to finish up with qualifier 1. So to explain the format, I'm actually going to pull up one of these just to make it really easy. We'll go with the very first one that happened. In every single region that is playing, there is open qualifier 1, open qualifier 2, and then the closed qualifier. In the open qualifiers, they're trying to get 2 teams in a double elimination bracket. So if we scroll to the bracket, it only shows the top 16. There was like 500 there was a ton, but these are teams that are playing based upon where they live, the residency. That's why Turbo is able to play with Envy and able to play in the regional for North America / the United States, as compared to others like Squishy, who lives in Canada. He can't play with Energy, and that's why Garrett, Chicago, and First Killer are playing together. So certain things like that do change the results. And there's a bunch of other things going on, like why didn't Envy play in the first one? It's because Mist was on vacation. I'm not going to go into those things about who and why people won. I'm just going to tell you guys the information for what it is. I'm not going to go into the specifics as to why it happened, because unfortunately, like, none of these matches were streamed. There was some here and there, but there was no streams for these. The only people that can watch these is if the players stream them themselves. And there was a couple here and there, but for the most part, it just didn't happen. So the first qualifier is going to have a bunch of teams. The top 2, as it shows in the bracket, are the ones that move on. So Murica and Boulevard are the 2 teams that end up progressing forward into the closed qualifier. There will then be a second qualifier where the exact same thing happens. A bunch of teams, 2 will move on, and then eventually we get into the closed qualifier where those 4 teams will play in a double elimination bracket. Starts off in the semifinals where these 2 teams are your top seeds. Second qualifier will be the other ones. They lose, they drop down, and then they play a double elimination bracket. That concept applies to literally every qualifier, and I'm talking there is a lot. If we go back to that main page, all of these have that same exact format. There's some of these players that are starting and not finishing until like 1:30 a.m. at night. It's ridiculous. A lot of things to critique about IWO. I don't know who's organized it or who's behind it or who decided to do this. The timing is terrible. The amount of matches people are playing in one day is horrible. You've got teams that are literally losing in the winners finals, dropping down to the lower finals, and then having to wait 3+ hours for a match, and then they don't get to play until like 1 or 2 in the morning. It's been really rough. If this realistically was actually done for players to go and represent the region and go to the Olympics, the amount of community backlash would be astronomical. The fact that players are keeping a pretty tight lip, or like when they do critique it, it's pretty lackluster. If this was legitimately, I am playing and representing my country and then going to Poland to play in a qualifier, and then from there get a chance to represent my country in the Olympics. If it was ran this way, this would be bad. I could see a lot of players just boycotting it altogether, because you've got teams like Team Queso, one of the best teams in Europe, as the 88th seed. Like, the seeding has been absolutely atrocious. There's been a lot of problems with these tournaments, and luckily most of the teams that are supposed to win are, but it's been, for lack of a better phrase, it's been a show. It's been really rough. So I commend the people sticking through it. It's been some really long days. I know people that get to the point where they're super far in the bracket, they lose and drop down to the lower bracket, and they're just like, the only reason I'm still awake is because my teammates still want to play. I want to drop out. And if you have a tournament that's being like, yo, this thing is being ran so poorly, I just don't care anymore, that is not a good look. So we are lucky this is a regional based only event, because if it was actually a live event for the Olympics, stuff would not be okay. So with that said, that is the format. That's how it's going to work. After we get the teams from the closed qualifiers, then they go to an event where they play other regions that are within their area. So like United States plays Canada, we'll play Mexico, and although all of those will compete, their top representative after the closed qualifiers are finished. But I'll get into that another time. Those closed qualifiers will be streamed, to my knowledge. Don't know who the casters are, don't know who's covering it, don't know what channel, don't know any of that kind of stuff. But I do know that someone ended up leaking that Jar of Jam is actually one of the people that's going to be commentating it. I don't know if you guys saw that. Link to that down below. It'll probably be displaying up here, but someone talked about meeting one of the casters for IWO, and I don't think that was supposed to go out, so whoopsie on that one. As for the second document, you guys should recognize this page. If you guys do not know, if you go over to my Twitch stream, twitch.tv/Lawler, I stream every day but Tuesday and Sunday. I'm finally taking Sundays off because I got a lot of stuff to do. But if you go to my Twitch channel in the chat and type !RLCS rosters, link will be in the description as well, it actually pulls up this document, which is all the RLCS players, teams across the course of the entire season based upon what split is happening. I will update this obviously during the off season and everything else, but as of right now, I've just kind of out of sight, out of mind it. If you go to the second tab, it is called IWO rosters/results, and you can find all the notable roster teams on the left hand side, and I update this as well. And then on the right hand side are the teams that are actually competing. So let's zoom in on this one. So on the right hand side, it has Canada Open Qualifier. So the teams from Canada, these are your two teams that qualified from Qualifier 1. I'll then put in Qualifier 2, and I'll put the teams that qualified from Qualifier 2. And I will continue to update this all the way down until we get to the closed qualifiers and who end up moving into the final event. I'll also group them according to whatever region is playing together. I'll take care of all that stuff. I'll color code it. So out of all the matches and all the things that are going on, I'm just going to scroll through these, and if you guys would like to pause at any given moment, or if you'd like to see this information, you can either check out the document or you can pause the video and take a peek. So there has been 18 qualifiers, and the last couple ones are wrapping up. The other one, like Argentina, I don't have their second representative yet. Other than that, everything else is pretty much filled out. So I'll make it look all fancy and pretty and stuff eventually once everything's all done. And all I'm doing is I'm going from these results, going into the Liquipedia page, finding what teams they are, and showing the players, because the names are all over the place, which I don't think if I put any of the names of the teams, you'd be like, who the heck they are. So at least we got a list of all the players and stuff. But yeah, those are all in there if you'd like to see who has qualified. You can even go and check and look at those brackets. That's something I didn't tell you guys about. If you do pull up any of the Liquipedia pages for the qualifiers, so if I go to like America's Open Qualifier 1, there is a link on the bottom right here that if you click it, it will actually pull up the Intel page, which is the entire bracket, not just the top 16. You can go and look at all of the matches. So if there's a certain team you know that you really like, if you want to talk about like Sizz, Fireburner, and Rizzo, I think they were called Stews, you can click on them and then go to, they were 280th seed, by the way. You can click on their name and it'll show you where they were in the bracket, who they lost to, all that kind of stuff. And it'll allow you to get the specifics if you'd like to. That's round of 64 in the lower bracket. So that is where they got knocked out. So you're talking, this is where they got knocked out in the lower bracket, and there was still this many matches to go. It's a lot. That's what I'm trying to say. And some of these people, like Boulevard, had to wait legitimately like 3-4 hours until they got to play. It was insane. Anywho, that is going to wrap up your Rocket League news for the day. If you guys do have any additional questions about the Intel World Open, as always, like I mentioned, you can either drop it in the comments down below, links to everything I'm talking about as well. And if you guys would like to hop over on the Twitch stream, like I said, I stream every day but Tuesday and Sunday now. Come hang out with us, twitch.tv/LAWL, links to that in the description down below. I will gladly answer your questions. We're probably covering this. I've also been doing live coverage of it as well. So while the brackets are going on, I have it up. I'm, answering questions, doing whatever I can to keep people educated on it. So with that said, that is going to wrap it up for this video. I'm going to go try to enjoy some of the sun. My skin, as you can tell, desperately needs it. I'm pretty much see-through at this point, but we will see you guys all in the next video. Again, as always, subscribe, notifications, you know how to do all that stuff. Thumbs up if you like it, and I'll see you next time. Peace.